Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello, my name is Helmi Wira Haikal, accompanied with my friends Muhammad Hanif and Zharfan Dawud H Putra. Today we are going to present about our big project for computer network, which is to make a web server using a TCP protocol. So, uh, to for the rundown, I will be the MC and will be the MC. Muhammad Hanif will be the explainer for the code, the server host, the code for the server host. While Zharfan Daud will be the one who will do the demo. So, without further ado, Muhammad Hanif, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Helmi, for the time that have been given to me to explain uh, the code that we are make about the web server. So, uh, I will explain briefly about each line that we made about the code. So let's jump straight into it. So the first line here, these lines import the necessary modules such as socket and sys for socket programming and system related operations. And then the next line creates the TCP socket using socket function. AF, in, A, AF init means the address family of IPv4, and then the sock stream indicates a TCP socket. The next line is the port number for the server to listen on. In this case, the port number set to 12,000. And then next line is this line binds the socket to the server address. The server address is specified as an IP address and the port number, which means as we previously described. And then the next line is the listen function, which means the server the server socket listen to the incoming connection. The argument one specifies the maximum number of pending connection that can be queued for acceptance. And then there is this print function, which means this line prints a message indicating that the server is ready to receive connection. And then we move on to this code block here. This code block starts with an infinite loop that continuously accept incoming connection. And then we have the accept function, which means it will wait until a client connects to the server. Upon accepting a connection, it will return a new socket representing the connection and the client address stored in ADDR or address. The client's IP address and the socket number are then printed in here. And then we move to this uh, try message. I mean, try block. This code block receive a HTTP request message from the client, extract the requested file name, and then opens the file in binary mode. It reads the content of the file and store it in output data. And then there's this code block which determines the content type based on the file extension of the requested file. We move on to this block. These lines created an HTTP response header containing the status line and content type. The header is then sent to the client using send. After encoding it as bytes, the header is also printed for debugging purposes. Then We're moving on to this line. This line sends the file data, which means we have put in the output data variable to the client using send all function, ensuring all data is sent. And then it closes the connection with the client. Moving on to this block for this block handles a scenario where the requested file is not found. It generates a 404 error response containing appropriate HTML content and sends it to the client, and then the connection is closed. And for the last line here, uh, these lines will close the server socket and terminate the program using sys.exit function. I think that's it for the brief explanation of the code. I will give the time and stage to the Zharfan for the demo of our program. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Hanif. Let me share my screen first. So, okay, so for the demo itself, I will be representing how the actual code runs. So first, to we need to run the server host first by simply typing the Python command prompt and then the server host file name itself, and you will see that a command prompt the server is ready to receive is printed, meaning that the server is indeed ready to be used for connections. So to connect to the server itself, we just simply need to type in like the following line of our address. So first we put the IP address of the local host that we put into the code itself. So in this case, I have the following IP address. Following after the IP address, we can put the socket that we have also put into the code itself, which in this case we put 12,000, and then simply type in the file that we want to open up from the client. So we can just copy paste this server address after after running the code itself from the terminal. And you can see that if we have successfully done all of the procedure, it will be look at as follows. So it will run the HTML page that we have created, and then in the server side itself, it will print out the connection that tries to connect to the server. It will print out the connect IP address and then the socket itself, and then it will print out an OK message here, meaning that it is indeed a successful connection. And then it will print out also the content type, what is the data is trying to be connected to the from the client. And then next, if we try to press this button, there is also pretty much the same page as before. It will also print out the same uh, prompt as before in the server side. But notice that if we go into, for example, a page that doesn't exist from the local file, as this one, it will print out an error message, which means that basically the uh, file that we try to connect to doesn't exist and will say file not found. And then if we see from the command prompt itself, you can see that it says that the file is not found here, which means it is indeed an error handling the page for this page. I think that is all for the demo from me. I will be giving it back into Helmi for the closure. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Zharfan, for your time and demonstration. So that's our project. It basically using web server for TCP to make sure a connection between the local host and the client. And we created this with the image of Shire horse and pony horse, and of course to show the 404 error messages. that we need to create it. So that's only it, and thank you for watching. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.